Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered what truly happens when you stop reaching out to a woman? What unfolds when your calls, your texts, and your attention suddenly go silent? At first, she might think nothing of it, but silence has a way of echoing louder than words. It stirs questions in her mind, it shakes her confidence, and it forces her to confront emotions she never expected. In those quiet moments, she begins to feel your absence more deeply than your presence ever did. And that is where the real story begins. When you stop contacting her, you awaken something that no words or gestures could trigger. You awaken her awareness of your absence. At first, it is subtle. She might brush it off, convincing herself that it doesn't matter. She might fill her days with distractions, hoping to bury the emptiness with activity. But silence has a way of cutting through the noise. Even in the middle of her laughter with friends, even while scrolling endlessly on her phone, there will come a quiet moment when the weight of your absence lands on her heart. That moment is powerful because it is not forced. It arrives naturally, and it makes her confront what she has been avoiding. She may wonder why you stopped. Was it something she did? Was it the way she responded? Did she push you away without realizing it? And as these questions swirl in her mind, she begins to notice a shift in herself. The pride that once made her feel secure starts to weaken. The confidence that you would always be the one to reach out begins to tremble. In that vulnerability, she realizes something she may not have wanted to admit before. Your presence held more meaning than she gave it credit for. This is where the transformation begins. Your silence becomes a teacher, not just to her, but to you as well. It teaches her that not every man will tolerate being taken for granted, and it teaches you that your energy is not cheap. By stepping back, you reclaim your power. And when you reclaim your power, she feels it. Women are intuitive. They sense shifts in energy, and your silence is the loudest energy shift of all. As days pass, she begins to reflect on the patterns that existed when you were in contact. Maybe she remembers how you checked in when she was stressed, how you paid attention to details others missed, how you added value to her life in ways that went unnoticed at the time. Suddenly, those memories aren't just passing thoughts. They are reminders of what she no longer has. And the human heart is wired to crave what it misses, especially when that missing piece once brought comfort and care. Some women will try to fight this realization. They may distract themselves with new people, hoping to fill the gap with temporary attention. They may post pictures, quotes, or updates designed to make it seem like they're thriving without you. But underneath the surface, those actions are not proof of indifference. They are signs of impact. If you truly didn't matter, there would be no need to overcompensate. The very effort to appear unaffected is evidence that your absence has been felt. Your decision not to contact her also acts as a filter. It filters out those who were with you for convenience from those who genuinely care. If she was only around because you made the effort, then your silence will expose it, because she will vanish the moment you stop feeding the connection. But if she truly values you, she won't let the silence continue indefinitely. At some point, her desire to reconnect will outweigh her pride, and she will make the move. She may test the waters with something small, a casual text, a random question, or even a reaction to something you've shared publicly. That's her way of saying, "I notice you're gone, and I don't want you to be." It's important to understand that this reaction is not about manipulation or playing games. It's about balance. Relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or in between, are built on mutual energy. When you were the one always initiating, always reaching, always investing, the balance was broken. Your silence restores that balance by shifting responsibility back to her. She must now decide whether to step into the role of initiator or allow the connection to dissolve. Either choice reveals the truth. During this time, you will notice a shift within yourself as well. At first, you may feel tempted to break the silence, to reach out, to check in. That urge often comes from fear, the fear of losing her, the fear of being forgotten, the fear that she may never come back. But when you resist that urge, something incredible happens. You begin to see your own strength. You begin to realize that your world doesn't collapse because you are not in constant communication with her. You start to pour your energy into yourself, into your growth, into your purpose. And the more you do that, the more attractive you become, not just to her, but to anyone watching. There's a deeper psychological truth here. When you stop contacting her, you trigger a principle known as scarcity. Human beings place higher value on things that are less accessible. When you were always available, your presence became ordinary. But when you remove yourself, your presence becomes rare, and rarity breeds value. Suddenly, the same words, the same gestures, the same attention she once overlooked become precious in her memory. That shift in perception is what makes her reflect, reconsider, and often return. But not every woman will respond with warmth. Some may double down on pride, choosing silence in return. Others may even try to convince themselves that they never cared in the first place. And that's where the beauty of this process lies. You are not supposed to control her response. You are supposed to observe it. Her reaction is information. It tells you everything you need to know about her priorities, her maturity, and her capacity to value you. If she doesn't step forward, then she was never truly invested. If she does, then you know your presence carries weight. In those moments when she does begin to miss you, she will not only think about the past, but also about the future. She will wonder what life would feel like if your absence became permanent. That thought is often what drives her to act. The realization that someone who once made her feel special could walk away without looking back forces her to confront her own feelings more honestly. She will begin to ask herself whether her pride is worth the risk of losing you completely. Your silence also forces her to compare. She will look at other people around her, measuring their presence against the void you left. And more often than not, she will discover that others don't measure up. That realization intensifies her sense of loss because it reminds her that your presence was unique. That uniqueness is what she begins to long for again. What you must remember is that silence is not passive. It is active. It is a decision that speaks on your behalf. It tells her that you will not chase endlessly, that you respect yourself too much to beg, and that you know your worth. Those unspoken messages carry more power than any text or call could ever deliver. They create an environment where she must confront the reality of what you meant to her, and in doing so, they reveal the truth about where she stands. In the long run, she will do one of two things. She will either step back into your life with a new sense of appreciation, or she will fade away, proving that she was never meant to stay. Both outcomes are victories, because both bring clarity. One leads to a stronger bond built on mutual effort, and the other frees you to invest your energy where it will be reciprocated. And as she processes the silence, she also begins to change the way she sees you. You are no longer the man who was always available at the snap of her fingers. You become the man who values himself enough to walk away if necessary. That image commands respect. That image creates attraction. That image makes her wonder if she miscalculated your worth. And in that wondering, she begins to desire what she once dismissed. So when you stop contacting her, understand that you are not losing ground. You are gaining clarity. You are not weakening the connection. You are testing its strength. You are not pushing her away. You are giving her the space to choose whether to come closer. And in that choice, the truth will reveal itself in ways that words never could. When you stop contacting her, you invite the most powerful force in relationships to step into play: time. Time reveals truths that words can disguise. Time shows whether the bond was rooted in genuine care or built on temporary emotions. Time exposes whether she was truly connected to you or simply entertained by your presence. And as the hours, days, and weeks pass, she is forced to sit in the reality of what your absence means. It becomes more than silence. It becomes a test of depth, of connection, of value. In those moments when the silence lingers, she may begin to recall every detail about your interactions that once seemed insignificant. The way you listened without judgment, the patience you showed, the reassurance in your tone, the excitement you brought when you entered her space, all of these details return to her memory like echoes. At first, she may brush them aside, but the mind has a way of replaying what mattered most. And when she replays these memories, she begins to measure them against her current reality. She begins to ask herself if she feels that same comfort, that same safety, that same sense of being seen anywhere else. More often than not, the answer is no, and that is where longing begins. The longing is not always immediate. Sometimes it sneaks in quietly, like a whisper she cannot ignore. She may go about her day confident and composed, but then hear a song that reminds her of you, see something that sparks a memory, or feel a sudden emptiness at night when the distractions fade. Those moments are powerful because they pierce through the walls pride tries to build. And once pride is pierced, the heart is exposed. But pride is a strong force. For many women, the initial response to silence is resistance. She might think to herself, if he's not contacting me, then I won't contact him either. She may convince herself that staying quiet proves her strength. But as time passes, that silence no longer feels like strength. It begins to feel like loss. And loss is not easy to ignore. That is why, no matter how hard she tries to appear unaffected, the silence continues to press on her heart, forcing her to decide whether her pride is worth more than the connection she feels slipping away. This is where the shift in perception truly takes place. Your silence, rather than pushing her away, causes her to turn inward. She begins to examine the role you played in her life and what she may have overlooked. She starts to realize that attention is not endless, that consistency is not guaranteed, and that your effort was not something to be taken lightly. She begins to see the weight of your absence, and with that, she begins to reassess her own actions. Some women will reach the point where the silence becomes unbearable, and they will break it. They might do it subtly, testing the waters with a light-hearted message, pretending it's casual. But beneath that surface, the message carries weight. It is her way of saying, I've noticed the gap. I miss the presence. I don't want to lose it. For others, the realization takes longer, but when it comes, it often arrives with more intensity. They may express regret, express desire to rebuild, or suddenly show a level of effort that was missing before. This shift is not random. It is the direct result of your choice to withdraw and protect your energy. Your silence not only impacts her, it transforms you. The space you create by not contacting her is space that you can now fill with yourself. Instead of waiting on her response, you redirect your focus toward your own growth, your own goals, your own happiness. And as you do that, your confidence grows. You begin to realize that her reaction, whether she comes back or not, does not define your worth. That realization is liberating because it shifts the power entirely back into your hands. You are no longer waiting for validation. You are standing firm in self-respect. There is a powerful truth in relationships. The one who is willing to walk away is the one with the greatest strength. When you stop contacting her, you silently declare that you will not settle for one-sided energy, that you will not chase endlessly, and that you will not compromise your value. That declaration changes how she sees you. You are no longer the man who can be taken for granted. You are the man who knows his worth, and that image demands respect. Respect often precedes desire. When she begins to respect you more because of your silence, she also begins to feel drawn to you in a different way. The mystery of your absence, the strength of your self-control, and the focus you show on yourself all create an aura that is magnetic. She may not even fully understand why she feels more attracted to you now than before, but it's because she's witnessing something she didn't see before. Your ability to hold back, to not give in, to let go if necessary. That kind of strength is rare, and rarity is always valued. There will be moments when she wrestles with her emotions. She may want to reach out, but hesitate, unsure of how you'll respond. She may worry that you've truly moved on, that you no longer think of her, that you've replaced her in your mind and your heart. That worry is not a weakness. It is a sign of impact. It shows that your absence has created a question mark in her life, and that question mark is something she cannot easily erase. But here is where you must remain steady. The purpose of your silence is not to punish or manipulate, it is to observe. It is to give her the chance to reveal her true intentions. If she chooses to stay silent indefinitely, then you have your answer. If she chooses to reach out, then you also have your answer. Either way, you gain clarity, and clarity is far more valuable than clinging to uncertainty. When she finally reaches the point where she cannot ignore the silence, she will act. It may not be dramatic. It may be as simple as a text, a call, or an unexpected gesture. But behind that action is an admission that she noticed, that she felt, that she missed. And that admission, even if unspoken, tells you everything you need to know about the connection you had. And if she doesn't act, if she chooses to let the silence stretch on endlessly, then that too tells you everything you need to know. It tells you that her connection to you was not strong enough to withstand distance, that her investment was not deep enough to bridge the gap. And while that realization may sting, it is also freeing, because now you know. Now you are not trapped in doubt or in cycles of overgiving. You are free to move forward without carrying the weight of wondering. Through it all, the most important lesson is this: silence is not the absence of action. It is an action in itself. It is a statement that speaks louder than words, a boundary that protects your value, and a mirror that forces her to confront what she truly feels. It is the moment when you stop proving and start observing. And in that observation, the truth about her and the truth about you is revealed in ways that contact could never show. When you stop contacting her, something else begins to unfold. Her imagination takes over. The mind hates unanswered questions, and when you no longer provide her with the familiar patterns of attention and communication, her thoughts begin to fill in the blanks. She starts to wonder what you're doing, who you're with, what new habits you've picked up in the time she hasn't heard from you. That curiosity is powerful because it creates a kind of tension she cannot easily shake. Silence leaves space, and space demands answers. If you're not providing them, she is left to create them herself. And those imagined answers often make her realize the possibility of losing you in ways she never considered before. At first, she might try to brush it off, telling herself she's too busy to care or that she doesn't need to think about it. But thoughts have a way of circling back, especially at night when everything is quiet. That's when she begins to notice how empty her phone feels without your name lighting up the screen, how strange it feels to go about her day without that familiar check-in, how unnatural it is to scroll through messages and not see yours at the top. Those realizations don't just pass by, they accumulate, slowly shifting her perspective until she can no longer deny what she's feeling. And what she feels is a mix of emotions. Sometimes it's confusion, sometimes it's regret, sometimes it's longing, but above all, it's recognition. Recognition that she had someone who valued her, someone who made an effort, someone who gave without demanding in return. Recognition that what seemed ordinary was actually rare, and that rarity has now been removed. Human beings tend to underestimate the allure of consistency until it disappears, and in your silence, she experiences that lesson firsthand. The irony is that in trying to appear unaffected, she may actually reveal the opposite. Perhaps she posts more frequently, shares motivational quotes, pictures with friends, or even captions that seem aimed at proving she's fine. But beneath those signals is often a desire for you to notice, to react, to break the silence. Her actions speak of someone who feels your absence more deeply than she admits, someone who doesn't want to say it directly, but hopes you'll see between the lines. This is why your silence is so powerful. It forces her to reveal herself. Words can be rehearsed, actions can be staged, but the deeper patterns of behavior that emerge when you step back cannot be faked. They show what truly lies underneath, and whether she chooses to reach out or chooses to stay quiet, you are no longer guessing. You can see her intentions clearly by what she does in your absence. Meanwhile, you continue to grow in your own space. The silence you hold is not just about her, it is about you. It gives you room to reconnect with yourself, to focus on your own goals, to redirect your energy toward the things that truly matter in your life. You begin to realize that your happiness does not hinge on one person's responses, that your worth is not tied to someone else's validation. That shift in mindset strengthens you, and the stronger you become, the less you feel the urge to chase what does not reciprocate. And here lies a truth that cannot be ignored. Attraction is amplified by independence. When she begins to see that you are not sitting idly by, waiting for her, but instead moving forward with focus and purpose, something shifts inside her. She begins to view you not just as the man she once knew, but as someone whose energy is bigger than her, someone whose value is not defined by her presence. That realization stirs admiration, and admiration often rekindles desire. She may also start to question her own behavior. She may replay the last conversations you had, wondering if she was too distant, too dismissive, too cold. She may regret not appreciating your consistency or not matching your effort. Those thoughts begin to weigh heavily, and over time they grow into a recognition that perhaps she underestimated you. That recognition is often the spark that pushes her to act. But not every woman will act the same. Some will try to test you first, sending subtle signs instead of direct communication. She might react to something you post, comment lightly, or bring up something random as an excuse to engage. Others may take a bolder approach, directly reaching out and expressing that they miss you or that they've noticed your absence. Regardless of the form it takes, the fact remains. Your silence compels her to act in ways she would not have if you had continued to give your energy freely. Yet you must also be prepared for another possibility. She may choose not to act at all. She may let the silence continue indefinitely, not because she doesn't feel it, but because her pride outweighs her desire to reconnect. That, too, is an answer. It reveals her priorities, her maturity, and her willingness to let go of something valuable rather than humble herself. And as painful as that realization may be, it saves you time and energy. It saves you from building with someone who cannot set pride aside for love or respect. Through all of this, the most important person you must stay true to is yourself. Your silence is not meant to be a tactic or a game. It is meant to protect your dignity, to restore balance, and to allow clarity. It is a way of saying, without words, that you will not pour endlessly into someone who is not pouring back, that you are willing to let go rather than hold on to what is not meant for you. That message, even unspoken, is one of the strongest statements you can ever make. And she feels that. She may not admit it, she may not show it openly, but she feels it. She feels the weight of losing someone who knows his worth. She feels the difference between a man who chases blindly and a man who holds his ground. She feels the gap that only you once filled, and she realizes that not everyone can or will step into that role. That realization often grows with time, and the longer it grows, the harder it is for her to ignore. Eventually, she may find herself at a crossroads. On one side is pride, on the other is desire. On one side is silence, on the other is reconnection. And no matter which path she chooses, the truth is revealed. If she chooses pride, you see her limits. If she chooses reconnection, you see her value for you. Either way, you are no longer left wondering. Your silence has given you clarity, and clarity is one of the greatest gifts you can receive. So when you stop contacting her, understand that you are not disappearing, you are defining. You are defining the boundaries of your worth, the balance of your relationships, and the standard for how you deserve to be treated. You are defining what you will accept and what you will not. And in doing so, you shift the entire dynamic, not only for her, but for yourself.